You doing today, man?
Doing
Thanks
great,
for joining us.
I appreciate you having me here. Thank you.
Yeah. So I have a few questions for you today, man.
All right.
Just be honest, be open, be real with me.
I don't know how else to do it.
Okay, man. I
One
appreciate that.
All right.
So, first question is, how long have you been working in the audio industry, and what made you want a career in audio?
It's been actually November will be 25 years for me. So 24 years November. I just loved music as a kid, and I came up like most of us did. I just loved it, and I was always around it. My family wasn't into music though, so I actually got it from friends. I was at friends' houses whose parents played, or somebody had a guitar, and we used to all kind of mess around a little bit, and that's what started me really falling in love with it. I just found me trying to do that more than anything else. You know what I mean? So I kind of got led there early on. I started playing guitar at about 15, and I'm still not any better than I was at 15, but I started.
Me either.
So that's it. It's not my thing.
Strings are
So I'll leave that up to you musicians. But yeah, I started writing a little bit and started singing a little bit in a band, and it kind of just went from there. And I tried to be a rock star. That was my thing. Like I wanted to be in the biggest rock band in the world. But then I realized at one point that I had to not gamble so much. I didn't go to a school like this to learn it. I was just trying on my own. And I decided to really go into school to try to get a skill set that I could use. So if I didn't make it in the music industry on that side of the glass, we call it, I could be on the other side of the glass helping other people make music. So that's what really started it all for me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Sir.
So what's your favorite genre of music?
I listen to hip hop more than anything. I listen to hip hop, but I play in rock bands. So I kind of sing in rock bands, but it's not what I listen to when I'm leaving. And that kind of happened. Run DMC changed it for me. Like back in the day when I heard that, it just changed everything for me. So at that point, I kind of went that route, but I've still always played in bands. So I get kind of the best of both worlds.
Okay. So, who inspires you the most, or what influences you?
I think what career wise, I think it was the engineers that I was lucky enough to have as mentors because their work ethic was just epic. It was unbelievable the amount of work they would do just to make sure the art, which is what we're making, they were making sure the art was right. And they would go to any length to make sure it was the best they could make it. And being a little OCD anyway, I fit right into that crew. So it all worked out really well. And I think those people really influenced me. I'm lucky enough, we're having a 60-year Hit Factory Criteria reunion on the November 3rd. So I actually get to see a lot of those people again and really thank them for what they did for me. Because without those mentors and them showing me how it's done at a highly professional level, I would have never gotten as far as I did. So I really give those people a lot of props for what they did for me.
I heard you mentioned the Hit Factory.
Yes, sir.
Could you explain to some of our younger audience what about the Hit Factory?
Criteria Recording Studios down in Miami and North Miami Beach. It's been there for 60 years coming up. I think this is the 60th year it's been there. And I was there 10 years out of that. So it's a good little chunk that I was there. And actually bought out by the Hit Factory of New York in 2000. So when they bought it, they dumped about $26 million into it and made it just the most unbelievable place I've ever seen. So I was very fortunate to be working there and to be working with the people I was working with.
So who was the most memorable person that you worked with?
As far as artists?
Yeah.
A lot of good stories, but I think the coolest person and the person I felt the most attachment to in a way was DMX of all people. Like people wouldn't believe that if I say it, they laugh. I'm like, he's the coolest guy. And there was something about, we just bonded. There was something weird where I really felt like we bonded. And I was with him for about 3 years off and on working on records. And he was just always really good to me, like better than a lot of people were.
That's cool.
Yeah, good dude.
Shout out to X.
Come on.
Anyway, moving along. What was the first piece of audio gear that you purchased once you started really like doing your thing as an engineer?
The first thing I don't purchase much. Like I'm not one of those gear hound people. I don't have a studio of my own that I buy a bunch of stuff for. But first thing I bought were speakers because I found a set of speakers I really liked, and a buddy of mine had the same model and the same brand that he was selling. And they were Mackie HR 824s, which were kind of the old school wood models, which I really like a lot. I still have them. Like I have not gotten rid of them. That was the first piece, and then I bought a distressor, a compressor by Empirical Labs. But other than that, I was working at the Hit Factory, and everything I wanted and then some was sitting in those rooms. So I didn't really want for much, as far as gear was concerned.
So what was the longest recording session you've been a part of?
Like from
why did it take so long?
Point A to point B. Usually it's the end of the record, meaning you're trying to finish it up in time to get it to the record label. So I remember being in New York. I can't remember what project it was, but we went 3 days straight, like literally three. And people go, "No, you didn't." I swear we did. Like we didn't stop because we had a deadline. We had to get it done. So I was assisting at the time. One of the engineers had been up for 2 days with me, and he just was like, "I'm done," and he walked out. So when he walked out, they were like, "You're up," and I jumped in and finished that last day. Ended up falling asleep. I forget where I was in New York, like a diner or something. I fell asleep in the diner, and they called 911. They couldn't wake me up. I shut off, and they were like trying to wake me up. But that was the longest. About 3 days straight was about the longest.
Wow. And you're such an energetic guy, man. So like, how do you keep that positive energy in such a draining industry?
I love what I do, man. It's not work to me. I think it's a gift that somebody allows me to work on their project or their art. So to me, if they're willing to have me there and I can do something to help that project and help that music come out better, then that's a gift to me. So I'm not worried about staying up. Like I'll do whatever I got to do. And the energy to me is when we're done and all of a sudden that album or that song comes out and you hit play and the world starts going crazy over it, that's the reward. So I can sleep and make all that up, I'm fine. But when I get up and we did something great, that's what it's all about to me.
So when the album's over, then you go hibernate.
And that's exactly what I used to do. It's funny you said that. I literally would take about maybe a week or 3 days if I could, and I would just go check into a hotel somewhere and not tell anybody where I was. I would just shut off for a while. So, you do something that's that intense, like you said, it is very intense because you're working with intense people. The artists want a certain thing and they want a higher level of it. They want what they hear in their head to happen. So it takes a lot of us to get that to happen. But once you make that come to fruition and you see that artist in an interview and they're talking about a new record they have out and how proud they are of it, it just makes you feel really good that you worked on something like
So
that. Yes, sir.
you've been in this business for a while. What's some technology right now that you wish that you had back
All of it. See, when we talk about Pro Tools with you guys, and you guys came up with it, so you're so used to it. I came from tape machines. Like if you wanted to hear the song without the bridge, you had to cut the tape and spool the tape off into something, and then put it back together. And the producer go, "Nah, it's cool, put it back."
then?
And it's
Guys, you had to work back.
it was just a different. It was you had to make decisions that are you sure you want to do this? Now it's like let me hear it without the bridge, and you shuffle them over, take out 8 bars, and you're done. Nope, undo. It was very easy. So a lot of the stuff we have now, it just makes it's the same type of thing we were able to do. Well, not all of it, but the things that we were able to do that were so much harder now could be done with a click. And it was much easier. So I love the technology. I'm a big fan of it. I know a lot of engineers who are my age, especially when it first came out, they were against it and kind of pushing. And I don't care who you are, you're not winning against that kind of technology. It's going to come into the game. So I kind of dropped the tape machines and all that and just started learning Pro Tools as fast as I could because that's what was coming in the room every day. Yep.
So what's one thing that people don't know about you that's not audio or music related? Let's get to know Scott a little bit.
You had to go personal like that. I like it. I don't know if everybody knows this, but I'm a big kickboxer. I've been kickboxing since I was 15. So I still do it. I literally went yesterday. So I've never stopped doing that. I think that's something a lot of people don't know because I'm not a fighter like that. But
You Jackson, why,
when I get in there, when there's a bag in there, I'll go at it. You know what I mean? So I don't think everybody kind of knows that that's my little thing I do on the side. Don't really tell people about so much. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Hey, man, you kicking tracks and then you're kicking
That's
ass.
right.
All right. So, how can upcoming engineers become adorned and successful like you are?
You got to work harder than you ever thought. Like I try to instill this in the students here at AIMM. It's not about okay, I've got to do. You've got to do it better than everybody, and you've got to be able to work harder than anybody. So if somebody says, "Hey, I need somebody here at midnight tonight," you go, "Yep," and you show up. No matter what you have to do the next day. Hey, I got to be up at 7 for work. Whatever, go do it. Because if you don't get out there and get a reputation as somebody that's a worker, it's just not going to happen. They need people they can depend on. They need people they can call, and you show up. And you show up every time, not part of the time. So I think work ethic is a huge thing, and you guys just have to really take that into consideration. I'll do whatever I have to do to make this happen. And if you're in the position I was in when I first started this, I was a janitor. I wanted out. I wanted out very, very badly. So to me, staying up all night or going in, 4 in the morning, if somebody called and nobody else would answer the phone, I would. So I think a lot of it was just me being there and answering the phone and being willing to do literally whatever it took. I didn't care. I just really wanted to make it. I wanted to have those plaques on the wall and be able to say I did something in it.
Awesome.
You know,
And I appreciate you.
I
Scott.
appreciate you. Thank you,
Thanks for
Sted.
your time, man.
Pleasure,
You dropped
man.
some gems on
Thank you
us.
guys. Appreciate you having
And
me.
signing out at WAIMM. And this for me and for Scott. Y'all have a good one.
Thanks, y'all.
Thanks, y'all. I guess that was
Thank you,
cool.
brother. Thank you.
All right, so I don't know.